also open for discussion, as it may raise many issues that we come across in our lives, in academic lives, maybe not every day, but quite often. And the conflicts that appear and when we teach, when we are working in the academic environment, are gradually becoming the issue that we focus on, as the conflicts may help us sometimes, which may be seen as a contradiction, but some conflicts may help, and some conflicts may, of course, interrupt our process of education and teaching, as this is all part of human interaction. And the classroom, as such, reflects this human interaction, as the dynamics of the social environments are composed of many diverse learners, as we are all different as human beings, so the learners are also reflecting this as in mirror. So this academic literature that we come across in the field emphasizes that the classroom conflict is not wholly negative, nor it is avoidable. So we may try to avoid it, but no matter how hard we try, conflict will appear in the classrooms. Sometimes, depending on the capabilities of the teacher and lecturer, the conflict may be seen as something productive, as something like the base for growth, when it is handled with special intentions and skills. And there are moments of tension that appear in every part of the classroom. They may illuminate the needs that have not been met, or some kind of expectations from the learners, as they may offer both educators and students some meaningful opportunities for the development of communication skills, of their ability to be empathic and to build resilience. There are situations which get out of scale, and like, for example, 3 days ago in Poland, there was a very sad situation of a teenager, a girl aged 12, who went outside the school and stabbed a colleague from a younger class, an innocent girl aged 11. There is now heavy investigation why this happened, which is a very sad situation and unheard of before, because it's like, killing someone just for having no serious right to do so, and not being excused for this, which can never be excused, of course. But this is like a very hot topic now in Poland. When you search for news in Poland now, it happened in the city of Jelenia Góra, I think exactly 3 days ago, and now there's this big investigation. What kind of conflict was it that led to this terrible ending, that somebody ended someone's life in such a cruel way? So we will be discussing on a slightly lighter mode, as we will not go into the sick minds of obsessed people who may just need some kind of psychological or psychiatric treatment. But the level of conflict that we want to concentrate on is the everyday conflict that we have to manage somehow. So we need to try to be effective in this conflict management, because when we cultivate it too much, the conflicts may escalate and they may ruin our positive attitude or our image of the classroom culture. Any kind of classroom is characterized by trust, collaboration, and shared norms. And there is also the capacity of all the community members, how they navigate without disagreement through all these rules. And I guess it applies to both parties, as on the one side there are the teachers, the lecturers, so it's us, and on the other there are the students, the learners. Sometimes there is, like, in the form of a joke, saying that teaching is like being in a battlefield, that on the one side there are teachers, lecturers fighting the students, which I guess is not the most accurate or most wanted description. If we feel we are in the battlefield, we will always fight, we will always try to show our power, and we will not manage the conflicts that appear. I guess for a good educator to be able to solve a conflict when it appears is to be proactive, to have this restorative approach to conflict, which may help the students and learners internalize the emotions, their competences that are needed and are necessary to thrive and survive in academic setting, and beyond that, because this academic setting may be just the beginning of the future career and of creation of some kind of mental attitude in young people. So the classroom environments in which those conflicts are handled in a transparent manner will tend to promote the students' engagement. It will reduce the behavioral disruptions, and it will strengthen the group cohesion. There are many theoretical foundations which underline conflict in educational contexts, and they are related with the developmental psychology, with the social learning theory, and the culturally responsive pedagogy. They may also explore the practical approaches and evidence-based approaches that empower educators to transform conflict into an opportunity for learning and for connections. So there are the challenges and possibilities that are inherent in the classroom conflict. And we will try to illustrate the intentions of conflict management in this educational setting. So first of all, we may have to realize that the conflicts appear because of different goals, because of different perceptions and varied values, and also interpersonal styles. And they may be amplified with diverse and fast-paced nature of the school setting. When we are in a hurry in the classroom, when we may just oversee a situation because we just focus on teaching and the educational process, and we don't focus so much on people around. And I think it's important to look at our students, our learners, as human beings in total, as they are not only machines or robots to learn or to provide the results at the final exams or term exams. They are also human beings and they have unique backgrounds related to their culture, prior experiences, personal needs that are to be satisfied in the classroom. So this is creation of a very complex ecosystem in the classroom. In this ecosystem, it's easy to be misunderstood or to somehow, and these conflicts may emerge because of this. One of the examples are the mixed nationality classes. As you know, there are many, like thousands of Ukrainian boys and girls, mainly girls, in the I mean pupils, younger pupils in Polish schools for the last years, during the last years, and there are misunderstandings, not only because of language, because of the attitudes, because of history, of culture, because of expectations, because those pupils had to fit into the frames of a system which is maybe similar, but in reality, looking into details, the system is different. Or the system of exam taking is also different. And the language is different. So everything, and being away from home, this is also a very big personal issue for many students, many pupils, and this also has to be taken into consideration. So this is the example which is very straightforward and it comes to my mind easily. But it's not only this one. In the Polish universities, there are many students from Africa, from Asia, and they also need to adopt into a system, the processes of learning, the learning environment. So this also creates potential conflicts which have to be solved immediately in the classroom. There is this explanation by the developmental psychology, and it says that children are acquiring this emotional regulation and perspective taking and conflict resolution capacities with time. As we all know, the older we grow, we become more open, more tolerant, we accept the differences easier, and we develop those skills of adjustment as we may accept the differences without questioning them. I guess this is a very good attitude to possess and try to learn as a skill, not to question something too much, just to accept it as it is. And this is, I think, the feature of age. And the elder we become, it's easier for us to naturally adopt and naturally accept situations. When we are younger, we very easily express our frustration, we negotiate positions, we express disagreement. So we know life is not perfect, but we as educators try to play this like a game in modeling and being constructive conflict managers who help students translate those actions and reactions into more reflective and adaptive responses. Says that it's not merely the byproduct of being immature, not being old enough, but this is the essential component of a learning community. So the learning process inherently has this feature of conflict written into it, like a gene. There is something called something like that, which is called productive conflict. when we facilitate a situation successfully and appropriately, this situation may enable our students to accept other viewpoints when they challenge the assumptions and they feel like they have strengthened their interpersonal competences. There is also a quite important theory called the role of power and identity. So social identity theory and critical pedagogy suggest that conflicts in classrooms are not only the interpersonal events, as they are not related to interpersonal issues, as they can be rooted in broader power dynamics and the system inequalities. So students and teachers alike enter the learning environment with some kind of identities. And these identities are the race, gender, language background, socio-economic status, and the ability to shape and perceive the situations. So I was discussing the nationality issue before. The race is quite similar. And gender, sometimes this force may be forced and may be the focus of conflict in the classroom and in the learning environment, or the language background, and very often the socio-economic status, which may evolve into something unwanted in the academic life. The group membership also plays a very important role in shaping attitudes and behaviors, as sometimes students may gravitate towards the colleagues with whom they share similar identities, similar values or experiences, and they unintentionally create groups, smaller groups within groups, like they are the subgroups in the community or subgroups in the classroom. So when conflicts arise between these groups, they reflect deeper issues of belonging, as students tend to flock together as the same as in the saying, birds of a feather flock together. So similarities attract each other. So if they are like African students in a group, they will try to get together in the group of other students. Excuse me. So this is just an example of race, and also this may be the base of tension that may arise and evolve in the classroom. The students who feel like on the margin, left besides by the teacher, they may express frustration in a way that some teachers may interpret as being aggressive. But there is some kind of underlying issue in that, like the need for affirmation, the need for belonging. So leaving a group out because the group feels different is like creating a ghetto in the classroom. Either they are African students or they are students from some kind of community. And this is like they are given a label and they may feel like they are inferior because they are not identified fully in the classroom. So understanding this role of identity and the classroom interactions may help educators approach this conflict, and this cultural background may also bring about necessary progress, which is so much desired in the classroom. So we all know that this psychological safety is a very strong point that has to be realized in the classrooms. The psychological safety is the healthy measure of maintaining very high level of ability to allow students express themselves without fear of humiliation, being ridiculed, or without the fear of the social exclusion. And psychological safety refers to a very strong and shared belief that the learning environment is supportive and it's the interpersonal risk-taking is allowed, that this will be accepted. So in classrooms, this means that students will feel comfortable when they ask questions, when they admit some kind of confusion of not being secure, or they may openly express other viewpoints and they may engage in productive disagreement. So there is also a known saying, let's agree to disagree. So we must give them space, must give them floor to express different opinions related to a situation in the classroom or an opinion in the classroom, but we must be accepting different viewpoints. So this psychological safety plays a crucial role in fostering intellectual curiosity, and when we talk about deep learning. When the students trust us, they will be able to respect us more. They will be willing to explore the complex ideas. They will challenge different assumptions. And when emotions are high, they will be able to express their own perspective. So when they feel safe in the classroom, they may feel like they are sailing across a safe ocean, and they will reach the harbor successfully because there is some guidance and some kind of safe haven for them to express views and express ideas and learn. In order to do that, we need to share common norms and expectations. And I feel it's the best to be able to establish those norms at the very beginning of a learning journey. So like the first, second time we meet our students, our learners, we should establish what kind of norms we follow and articulate them. So the learning community is expected to follow this and that as a procedure, especially related to academic work, like don't miss the class, or maybe you can miss one class during the term without being judged. And these norms will serve later as a blueprint for behavior. So students may know that these are the instructions to be followed, that these are the shaping responses. And there are some strict boundaries that are maybe accepted for behavior, like no talking during the teacher's talking time. Not coming late to the classroom. Bringing homework, which may feel like very old rules, because now you're in the time of the AI and computerized work with and also distant work quite often, especially after the pandemic. We may feel that these are the norms of the past. Excuse me for a second. But I guess it's easier to create the sense of belonging and accountability, as students are more likely to adhere to expectations. It's like with a small child, when we try to educate or teach a small child any kind of norm. If there are no expectations of a child, then the whole process of education may be just hopeless and may be ruined easily. So the norms have to be open, the norms have to be said, even written down, and they may be continually reinforced, so they may continually be stronger. Because being only open and tolerant, we may have this feeling this may lead us nowhere. So being reflective, being consistent, giving the students feedback, being more practical as reinforcement ensures that the community standards are understood, and they have to be followed on both sides. If we are brave enough, we may give the floor to the students and we may ask them to create the rules that the lecturers need to obey, as of course, and with some kind of control. But this is a matter of trust, I think, and this trust has to be expressed on both sides. So the conflict management should be effective, and the conflict management may also be based on the teacher-student relationships. So this is the matter of trust as a main foundation of these relationships, as the trust may reduce the defensiveness and the increasing will of students to engage more into be collaborative, into the situations which require problem solving. So the students may perceive that the teachers are genuine, that they genuinely care about the students' well-being, and they respect the students. And then, only then, students are more likely to approach the lecturer with respect, openness, and empathy. And these are peer relationships. They are characterized by mutual respect and understanding, which helps create the environment in which the students challenge their ideas without attacking one another personally. There are also many strategies for preventing conflicts, being more practical now. So when we establish clear routines and procedures, so being predictive, when we have predictable routines and well-defined procedures, like the rules that I mentioned before, they may reduce the students' anxiety and they may minimize the opportunities for conflict to appear. So the students understand the structure of the day and the expectations and the processes for completing the task. So this is like focusing on one day, then we may focus on 1 week of our work. And also even that we may bring out the rules related to a term of work at university, what is expected from them. If it's clear, if the routine is like a scaffold, it's like a frame, then it's easier for the students to self-regulate, to ask for help, to express expectations, and also to collaborate and engage in the teaching and learning process. We must try to design the classroom, which is called the culturally responsive classroom design. And this is important to create the classroom which values and accepts the diversity of identities of all students in the classroom. the diversities which I mentioned before, like nationalities, race, economic background, as the conflicts often emerge from the misunderstandings which are rooted in cultural norms or the communication styles or prior experiences. As you know, we all know, like cheating in American schools is unheard of, and students really don't attempt it. And I mean, maybe some of them, but maybe very few, just very few attempt. Honestly, in Polish schools, cheating is not, of course, accepted, and everyone is fighting with this. But this is not so much to say that students are not attempting it. I think most students attempt to cheat, in Polish schools, because it's like a game. Will they win with the teacher or not? And this is, I guess, a matter of gaining this, speaking openly, gaining this label of a lucky student, like I managed to cheat, I managed to do something illegal. And this is like in nature. As we, I don't know the attitude of Ukrainian students, but in Poland, this is like, okay, it's a matter of luck. With American students, it's totally unacceptable. There was a big scandal like last month in Poland, as there were medical students, so the students of high expectations and learning to become doctors. So there were medical students on the bus, in one bus in the city of Białystok in eastern Poland. And those students were just like, there were like 4 girls, and they were discussing, and they were just really loud on that bus. They were discussing some kind of exam management, what they do. And they were discussing issues of cheating, that they cheat during the exams. And then there was an official report, an official statement issued by the rector of this academic community of this medical university in Białystok, that all the cases of cheating will be persecuted. So you can see that this is like, it's a kind of conflict to be solved. So the very official measures have been taken, and those girls were just discussing it in a private situation, but most people on the bus could hear it. And that was really a scandal in this area of academic world. As I follow this, this information, those kind of information, because it's my world, the academic world, and I was really ashamed that this really happened. But we must all follow some kind of strategy. So the university in that situation took up the strategy of having an open stand, that they don't accept situations of students cheating in exams. And we have to collaborate with those situations. We have to face them. So the students were somehow, the students are also in this learning environment, and most of them, as I'm not saying that not, most of them are likely to engage very positively in the process. But often there are people who want to escape the burden of heavy loads of work, and especially at some kind of more difficult courses of studies. There are many approaches of how we can manage the conflict. So one of them is the restorative approach, which will focus on from punishment to repair. So how can we repair the relationships? So it's not really framing the conflict, but we employ the mode of corrections. So we employ different practical restorative practices of empathy and community rebuilding. Another problem-solving technique is the collaborative problem-solving, when we engage the students as our partners, as we try to identify the causes of conflict and we generate solutions that are acceptable to all parties. We may also employ the strategies of active listening and validation. So active listening is the cornerstone of the effective conflict resolution in many classrooms. And teachers model this skill by attentively hearing the students' concerns. They paraphrase the students' statements and they acknowledge the emotions that are behind them. What we need to use to manage to resolve conflicts, we need to use the neutral and non-accusatory language. For example, saying things like, "You are irresponsible." This is a very strong statement. We may try to rephrase it into something like, "I noticed that your group missed the deadline for the project," which is more, finally may mean the same, but the language is very different. We have to encourage the students to voice the problems, to provide us with clear structures, as they need to openly speak about their needs and perspectives. We need to, as teachers, as lecturers, we need to model the conflicts. As we, as educators, serve as models for navigating the interpersonal conflicts. And by representing calm, respectful, and solution-based approach, the teachers may provide the students with more constructive behaviors. We need to be consistent. We need to be fair. So we need to apply even and equal methods, and in order not to escalate tensions, and in order to increase trust in the classroom. We may also try to employ the method of reflective teaching, which examines not only the biases, but also the emotional responses and assumptions. We try to understand the peer influence and the group dynamics. So the peer relationships and social hierarchies significantly shape how students experience and respond to conflict. We may try to anticipate what will be the potential flashpoints. Using collaborative learning structures as very powerful tools for promoting positive independence and reducing competitive tension. So when students work together towards some shared goals, we know that they learn to communicate effectively and they negotiate their responsibilities and they appreciate diverse perspectives. So this is creating the situations of being accepted and of us being tolerant. There are also some programs which may train our students to become mediators or mentors within groups, especially those who are seen as leaders and supporting others in the group. So the matter of conflict management may be reinforced by those stronger leaders within the classroom. The classroom culture is seen as a foundation because we may build the community ownership. So when the students have this sense of ownership in the learning community, they are more likely to engage responsibly and they are more likely to support the difficult situations by trying to to solve them. I have now a few open questions because the conflict, as we know, is inherent, and this is inevitable aspect of classroom life. And we know that understanding it and all the issues may help us. There are some questions which may just require from you to answer yes and no. Do you think that classroom conflict can be considered as an opportunity for social, emotional learning? Yes or no? You can write on the chat. Feel free. Do you think that classroom conflict can be considered an opportunity? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Should classroom norms be constructed with students or only by teachers? Should classroom norms be constructed with students? Yes or no? Yes. Are predictable routines helpful with designing effective and preventive classrooms? I guess so. Can challenges such as time constraints limit the implementation of effective conflict management classroom? I guess they can. Yes, yes, absolutely, yes. Now I have a situation for you to, and this will not be really yes or no, it may be a point of our short discussion. This is the scenario, the setting. During a group project, one student consistently dominates the discussion, while other students withdraw and they refuse to contribute. The tensions rise as the deadline approaches and the group's progress is stopped. So what are the conflicts and factors, and what kind of strategy can we employ to resolve the conflict? When one student consistently dominates the discussion. You can write or just you can speak whatever way you want. Feel free if you want to make a comment. How would you work on this situation? One student consistently dominates the discussion and the others withdraw and they don't contribute. You let it happen like that? You just leave it and close your eyes? I hope not. Okay, another one. The scenario. Two students argue over a classroom activity because one student perceives the other's comments as disrespectful due to cultural differences. The disagreement escalates, drawing attention from the other students. So, what kind of intervention would you employ? There are some cultural differences. Do you teach in mixed cultural groups when there are different backgrounds of like nationalities? Of
I can speak, yes.
Yes.
As usual, we teach same culture pupils, and we have only one or two or three students would have a different race or culture or religion even.
So it doesn't happen in your case. But can you imagine a situation like teaching in New York, you know, a melting pot of nationalities? This is like, well, I guess American teachers are more skillful with that because they are used to that, because they are used to mixed nationalities and different backgrounds. But I guess we all have those skills to be able to accept situations and to avoid them. Okay, and the last scenario I have for you. A group of students excludes a colleague from some kind of games and activities, and it causes emotional stress and withdrawal from the class participation. The teacher notices that the student is excluded, and the teacher notices the different group interactions. What can you do in such a situation?
Maybe try to organize a situation of opportunity for this excluded student and make a situation when this student can be bright or in center of action and show to this group that this person is good in something and he or she can be productive or funny or talkative or communicative or so on.
Yes. So turning this the other way around, yes. So from being excluded, taking him or her into the center of activities. If he or she wants to be in the center, because sometimes people are so withdrawn, they will never want to be in focus because they feel like the situation they are in focus is too much stress for them to handle. It's like with public speaking. Many people hate public speaking, and when they are in the center, standing with the microphone in front of like 100 people, they will just lose voice, or they will just forget, and they will not speak a single sentence. Okay, so these are, this is just a base, the base of our topic, like deep democracy, how to manage conflicts. We know conflicts are inherent, they are everywhere. They are in the classroom, there are the situations to be avoided, but these are the situations to be managed and not to be left out. So that was my main idea of today's meeting with you, that we as lecturers need to manage conflicts in a way. If we lack skills, we need to learn. We need to like attend a course, do an online program for that, or read more on the issue of conflict management, because conflicts cannot be left alone, because they will absolutely escalate to unseen situations. Taking this opportunity, I would like to thank you for attendance today, and also would like to wish you all the success for the 2026, and hope to be with you during the next internships and next online meetings. Thank you very much for today. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you too.
Thank you too for your time and passion in this lecture, and we can talk about this very important topic, and maybe some of us make our style of teaching and educating more complex and better. I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so as well. Yes, hope so too. Thank you. Wish you all the best. Thank you so much. Bye bye.